and there was just a homeless guy who bit one of their coworkers, and their coworker was literally just like, did I just get AIDS? Like, am I going to catch HIV?
Hi, welcome to our podcast, Barely Even Friends. It's me, Kyle, with Weather Blue and Variola today. We're going to be talking about the Harry Potter, JK Rowling drama, and like Vosh and stuff. Anyone want to start?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start on this. This is kind of an exhausting topic. So, most recently, in the last few days, the big trailer for Hogwarts Legacy just came out, it's been a multi-year project to develop an open-world Harry Potter game from Avalanche Studios, which was formerly the people who worked on Disney Infinity. Disney had ended up shuttering their entire games division, so Warner Brothers picked them up, dumped a bunch of money into them, told them to make an open world game. And it is going to sell like hotcakes. It has basically everything that Harry Potter fans could ever want in a game. The only problem is that the main antagonist is goblins. They have gone out of their way to make a goblin rebellion like the primary source of antagonism in the game, and you're supposed to fight off the goblin Ranrock, who is this insurrectionist who's trying to lead the goblins against the wizards. And it also recently came out about a day ago that the lead developer, Tony Leavitt, who was removed from the game about a year ago, had been like a staunch gamer-gator. He had been making anti-SJW videos on YouTube. So there's a very strong possibility that the game's plot ended up being strongly influenced by him, and that once they had that in place, nobody really chimed in to change it. We don't know all the details yet. There will probably be some things that come out after the game's release, but that's about the gist of it.
So the goblins are more or less an oppressed group in the wizarding world, more or less.
They are almost entirely glossed over, but the way that goblins are actually written in Harry Potter is that, one, they're all bankers, total anti-Semitic stereotype, and two, they've been banned from having access to the same things that humans have access to for the most part. So they can't use wands. At one point, if you go to the Harry Potter wiki, you can see a thing where it's like the Minister of Magic was removed because he couldn't quell a goblin rebellion once the goblins sided with the werewolves. It's very like lazy writing, but
Yeah, that's definitely an allegory for Jews. Like,
yeah.
Not even hiding a little bit. I remember, someone was saying the goblins don't need a wand or whatever for magic or something. Then, like, I watched that Sean video about JK Rowling's Harry Potter books. I never read the books. My mom did. I saw the movies. They were pretty much garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much the goblins. So JK Rowling has a very bad problem where she gives names to like characters that are very like racial stereotypes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then like the goblins are obviously like some Jewish anti-Semitic stereotype. They're banned from like other activities in the wizarding world, like the Jews were. They're forced into banking. It's very much a one-to-one like Jewish allegory.
You can actually go on her Twitter. She's got an old tweet where someone was like, "Are there any Jews in the wizarding world?" And she responds to a guy saying, "Anthony Goldstein, Jewish wizard."
I think I hated. I don't know what's worse, with J.K. Rowling just making everyone retconned into like SJW like PC things, or her being a transphobe.
I mean, there's so much to unpack. There was also, like, in addition to this, there was also like an extensive thing about how the only Haitians that were ever mentioned in Harry Potter ended up using like voodoo zombies to attack a Quidditch cup when they lost.
Fuck.
Yeah, I had heard about that a couple of days ago, and I was just like, "What?" Like one of the most powerful black wizards in the series is named Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
Yeah, you add all of this with the transphobia she does on Twitter, and it's just like, it's so exhausting.
Like, she used to pretend to be progressive, but like, yeah, Dumbledore's gay, but I didn't put it in the story.
Right.
Oh, like Hermione's black now. Oh yeah, someone asked her how did like wizards like poop or whatever, and she was like, they just magic poop away.
To where?
So they don't need the bathrooms anymore. Like, she's just fucking insane. Like, holy shit. Like, bad. Oh yeah, and then there was the whole she like retweeted a detransitioner like a couple days ago. Well, actually today.
Yeah.
The story is from like fucking last month. Yeah, it's kind of so JK Rowling's the type of feminist who like as a gender essentialist, to be honest, biological essentialist, believing that.
I don't really understand why transphobes feel the need to like latch on to detransitioners. Like I get the rationale behind it, but detransitioning really does represent a very small number of the people who actually, end up going on to take hormones or get any kind of top surgery or anything like that.
Because they're saying that being trans is an ideology, and it's a gender ideology, and these young girls are being tricked into being trans. But young girls are being tricked into being trans, then the men are rapists trying to get into women's spaces.
Are they?
There's been more Republicans being caught doing things in the bathroom
Yeah.
than trans women.
Yeah, big time.
Then but I really don't understand why she hates trans people so much. Oh yeah, I also were seeing people tweet how their nerdy sons are becoming trans girls. Like that's a thing now.
So?
Exactly. Like I
Who is
lost
it?
my son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like I've lost my son. He used to be this nerdy boy. Now he's a trans girl. Um, everyone's talked about a shit ton about JK Rowling transphobia.
I mean, shout out to Sean's video that is 2 hours long.
I actually have not seen it.
He doesn't talk about it that much. He just talks about Harry Potter.
He points out that J.K. Rowling is not a progressive; that she's a Blairite to the core.
Yeah, she is. She's a neoliberal.
Yep.
She just is not capable mentally of solving problems in her head. That's a mistake.
Yeah, that was a good. It's a good video. Everyone should watch that. Yeah, because like she has liberal solutions to like all her problems, like all like society problems that don't solve anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the evil in the wizarding world is one dude, and then like slavery is okay. They want to be slaves, and Hermione is a busybody who needs to mind her own business.
Yeah, there's this old like 4chan post where somebody does basically the same description where they explain how it's not just that she's a Blairite liberal, but she writes all of her characters to be the same. Harry Potter's like one goal at the end of the books is to become an Auror, which is essentially wizard FBI. And then when Hermione actually speaks up about slavery, they treat her like a soapbox Sadie.
It really shows like J.K. Rowling's true character. To be honest.
Well, I don't know how it is to you, but to me, Harry Potter was always something extremely British. Is this the same to you or no?
No, it
That's why
absolutely.
Americans love it.
Yeah, but is it? Do you see it as British, or no?
Yeah.
I mean, do you mean like uniquely British, or do you mean just like with regards to? Can you be more specific?
I mean, when I think of Harry Potter, I think of Britain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Okay, at least I'm not the only one there.
Like her whole Twitter, I'm on her Twitter right now, and like all she did is like she's been retweeting a bunch of detransitioners who regret being trans.
God.
It's fucking crazy.
I mean, she kind of writes the books in I don't want to say Eurocentric. It's more like Britain centric way, sort of the same way that Americans write things in an American centric way. Like I don't know, the way that she came up with the name for the Japanese school in the world of wizarding was to just mash the Japanese word for magic and school together, and then she pronounced it wrong.
Okay. Okay. So I'm currently going through these tweets on Twitter. So all these detransitioners are pretty much blaming Tumblr for why they got on testosterone and became trans.
Like, how does that work?
They're part of these communities, and they wanted to fit in on Tumblr.
So basically, Tumblr made me gay, or what?
Yes. So like on Tumblr, everyone it was mostly at the time it was a lot of teenage girls, and they wanted to be special and unique. They didn't want to be like the other girls. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking monster. But yeah, so they pretty much they more or less blame Tumblr for making them trans and gay.
I have to wonder how many people like were actually not gay but would lie about it to be a part of a community. Is it not just more likely that most of them were actually just gay to begin with?
Yeah, probably more likely.
Yeah.
But most people are like around that age, anyways. You're gonna be more confused about your gender and your place in society.
Sure, yeah.
But like most people are bisexual to begin with, like in general.
The study that I had read on it suggested that bisexuality is more common in women than men.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So in like bonobos, they do a lot of lesbian sex, and the women control society, so they're more peaceful and less violent compared to humans and chimpanzees.
I am laid low by the matriarchy.
Yeah, because like whenever they have a problem, they just fuck it out.
It's honestly sounds pretty great.
Yeah, like when women have issues, they just do lesbian sex.
That works for the straight couples too. Like,
Yeah,
you're
true.
not being honest now.
Well, it's the bonobos. They don't have like long-term partnerships, basically. Maybe they do. It's been a while since we looked into bonobo society, but we're talking about trans people. We probably should have brought one of our trans friends on.
I mean, to be fair, talking about bonobo society is probably more interesting than JK Rowling, even when
This is
JK
very
Rowling
true.
being transphobic.
From bonobos, the bonobos are the spider monkeys, so called, right?
No, they were originally considered to be a subspecies of chimpanzees, but they had diverged from the chimpanzees millions of years ago because of a river. So they ended up evolving into their own separate species.
No, but the spider monkeys, they're the ones that have sex to solve all the problems, right?
Probably, but bonobos do it too.
Okay.
One of
I
the
mean-
monkeys ended up buying. So they trained some monkeys how to use money. The first thing they did with it was learn how to do prostitution.
Huh.
Yeah, So they had to end that study and prevent the monkeys from doing prostitution again. Because they ruin it's a Yale study. It ruined their study or whatever, teaching the monkeys how to use money because they immediately just started doing prostitution.
Sure says a lot about our society.
This is why we need to abolish money. It makes people into degenerates, apparently, according to the monkeys. Oh, then you want to talk about Vosh and his misogyny towards JK Rowling? She retweets it.
Oh my god! I
mean, I think we need to explain. We need to explain. Probably everyone knows what Harry Potter is, but I don't think everyone knows who the Vosh is.
True.
Okay.
He's a white debate bro who is who comes from a wealthy background in Beverly Hills. He has pedophile allegations against him. J.K. Rowling tweeted that about him. He's more or less a mid-tier streamer with 400,000 subscribers.
He originally got his offshoot from being a Destiny hanger-on, who is another debate bro.
Yeah, and he mostly got a lot of his fame from debating Sargon and Rightoids.
Yeah.
But now he spends most of his time attacking people to the left of him, usually. And because he ran out of big right-wing creators to fuck with. So, yeah.
Which is why he went online and he tweeted to JK Rowling that all that JK Rowling had to do was shut the fuck up and her series would be beloved for a century, which wasn't the bad tweet. It was the reply to that tweet, which was Women Shut the Fuck Up Challenge 2022. And of course, JK Rowling retweeted that and went, I've been abused by men like you before. All you trans allies are doing this to me again. I will not be quiet. And then Vosh went online to say the only reason that the left was even mad at him for telling women to shut the fuck up was because he was the one who said it and not because it was misogynistic.
Then he made several follow-up videos where he doubles down and calls it tactical misogyny and calls her a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Vosh has tactical fuck.
N-word.
Yeah, tactical N-word, yes.
Yeah.
That's the character we're speaking about.
And obviously, a bunch of trans people were very mad because it's not very helpful when a very medium-sized to large creator attacks the most well-known transphobe to try to defend them. So he proceeded to get into drama with ContraPoints and Cat Black.
He went to DMs and basically argued with Cat Black for 90 minutes, trying to essentially get her to agree to the hypothetical that being misogynistic to JK Rowling is very similar to being a rioter who throws a brick through a small business's window, because someone unintentionally gets hurt on the sidelines, even though the thing you did was bad, we're all generally in favor of it. And he doesn't see a difference between these two things.
Oh yeah, he was also saying it's better for him to be retweeted by J.K. Rowling than a smaller trans person. He's taking the bullet for everyone.
Yeah, what does.
Yes, because J.K. Rowling would have found someone else to harass, and he's glad it was him because he can take it, and he's mad that his audience wasn't out there doubling down and defending him.
See, but he clearly can't take it because he immediately went to any of his parasocial friends and argued with them in DMs for hours to try to make them agree with him.
Yeah, ContraPoints blocked him.
He had an actual meltdown because of it.
Apparently, Kat and Vosh used to sext, and that came out and stuff. For no. Then, yeah. I didn't read any other tweets because I didn't really care.
I had gone through the thread that Cat Black had posted, and at one point, Cat Black posted something like, "Do I like white dick on occasion? Yes. Was I underwhelmed by it? Definitely." And it was it was funny, but every one of Vash's fans read that and immediately started accusing her of being a sexual harasser because she like basically said he was bad in bed, more or less. Well,
Wait,
like, kind of.
is that sexual harassment?
I'm sorry.
Is that sexual harassment?
It kind of does count if you were to like sleep. The way that it's done analogously in the opposite direction. If you were to sleep with a woman and then tell everybody you met that she was terrible in the sack, that essentially does qualify. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a double standard. I've known men
You're
getting
sexually
like called
harassing
bad
people
in the
you're
sack for years.
You're sexually harassing people you're saying it to. I see that.
No, you'd be sexually harassing the person who you're saying is bad in bed.
No, but like if I don't want to hear about your that is but you're also harassing the other person.
Yeah, that technically, yeah.
Especially if that person doesn't want to hear about that. So yeah.
Either way, it was hilarious. Then they got into like an argument about it.
I think a lot of this boils down to like power dynamics matter, and we don't really talk about power dynamics a lot. Like the
Oh yeah, it does matter a lot.
one of the reasons that I call myself an anarchist is because I don't believe in hierarchies, because hierarchies are bad, and I feel like a lot of people have never really taken the time to interrogate hierarchies like at any level, whether it's mid to small YouTube streamers or giant children's authors being transphobic.
People just accept the world for how it is and don't really question it, usually.
Yeah.
Either way, JK Rowling is a wealthy transphobe, and she should be deplatformed.
Does that include and to what extent does it include her novels?
Burn them. I don't care.
The people who currently own the rights to publishing the novels will never stop trying to publish and sell them, and they are actively trying to make her write more so they can publish and sell more. So
exactly.
She also wrote that one really fucked up book.
Which one?
Where it was where she used her male pseudonym, where it was about a trans woman. Well, the person wasn't actually trans or something, and they dress up. The man would dress up as a woman to go kill women.
What? What book is this?
Let me go Google it real quick.
Yeah, I had never heard that. That's wild.
Yeah. So, Blair White did a review of the book, didn't actually read it, and she said it wasn't actually transphobic, and there's like only one scene. But then someone else like read the book, and they're like, "There's a shit ton of scenes about that are extremely transphobic about the guy murdering women dressed as a woman."
Dear God.
The series is called Cormoran Strike. 5 novels. These 10. She's wrote like 3 of them. She's wrote 5 books of the series. I don't know which one it is. That is the super transphobic one. It's probably the more recent one.
Jesus. Oh wow, this is what she was doing instead of Harry Potter, huh?
Yes. I think it was maybe it was Troubled Blood. I don't know. Her mother. The media outlets regard the male villain who dresses up as a woman in order to kill women as transphobic, given the author's past comments on transgendered people. Laura Bradley, reviewing the Daily Beast, considered there was pernicious anti-trans tropes in the novel. While observed in the novel, while Kinneridge observed that the book's moral seems to be never trust a man in a dress.
Yikes.
So yeah, that came out in 2020.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that she would go to write a novel on this subject. It's just kind of like sad. Like, how can you be this obsessed with this, like, completely fictitious thing that almost never happens.
It's because I think so. Because of Twitter, famous people actually have to deal with the consequences of their actions and have to deal with people they affect more. And she probably obsessively looks up her name on Twitter because clearly she loves attention.
That's
all-
that's like sad to me. Why would you look up your name on Twitter?
That's how she found Boss's Twitter. Like clearly, she fucking looks for anyone
Well,
talking about her. Like,
Okay, fair enough. But like, I just don't understand why you would do that to yourself. Like,
he's rich and bored.
oh, sure, but you could do literally go ride a fucking jet ski. Why don't you? Like, come on.
No need to harass trans people on Twitter.
Go like buy another mansion. That's fun, right? Buying mansions. That's like an entertaining thing to do.
She's a billionaire harassing poor teenage and 20-year-old trans women. What the fuck's going on in Britain? Because they're also like trying to pass like a lot of shit to actively harm trans women.
There's so much legislation going around. The whole thing happening in Texas too. I had seen some people talking about how there was a person who was doing like some kind of trans community work, and I don't remember offhand, but they had tweeted something like, "I've been getting phone calls from people asking if it's safe to move to Texas now that CPS is investigating families for having trans kids."
Wasn't it Kansas?
No, it was Texas. There might have been something in Kansas, but I'm talking about Texas specifically.
No, but I heard the same news about. I think I heard the same about Kansas as well.
They're passing a bunch of that shit. Idaho was gonna make it so you can't leave the state if you're if you have trans children.
Good fucking luck enforcing that.
It failed immediately, and because everyone was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Even the Republicans voted against it. For some reason, okay, they think being trans is some sort of ideology that you can convert people to. It's like an old gay stereotype. Like there'd be there's gay people going around turning men gay. It's like infectious.
My parents had told me a story sometime in the last few months where both my parents were union workers. They both worked in a Safeway for 40 years. So they had a coworker one day where somehow he had gotten back on the topic of how you used to basically just beat up customers who would be shitty in stores. This was in like the 70s and 80s. And there was just a homeless guy who bit one of their coworkers, and their coworker was literally just like, did I just get AIDS? Like, am I going to catch HIV? Like that was a really surprisingly common thing in the 80s. And it feels like there's a sort of collective amnesia around just how absolutely shitty people have been to marginalized groups over the past 40 to 50 years.
One of the most fucked up things is to so during like the civil rights era and like all the protesting and stuff, you have right now a lot of those people are still alive.
Yep.
And they just pretend they never did any of that shit. They're protesting against them, like actively being against civil rights in general. Like, holy shit, what is wrong with these people?
I mean, both my parents were union, but they both voted for Reagan.
My dad voted for Reagan. He was a hippie.
He was a very, very popular president.
Don't know
Didn't stop
why.
him for being deeply right wing.
One of my history teachers said Reagan was one of the worst presidents ever.
Yeah. I can see that.
So do they regret voting for Reagan or no?
Oh, he didn't vote for Reagan.
No. His parents, Blue.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Your parents, do they regret voting for Reagan or no?
My mom does. I don't think my dad does.
Yeah, didn't Reagan win like a bunch of union households?
Yeah, it's also worth noting that Reagan was governor of California back in the 80s as well, or mid to late 70s. So
Oh, you're from okay.
He was also a famous actor as well.
How famous was Reagan
very
as a actor? Really?
pretty
Yeah,
famous. Yeah.
he used
As
to be
fam-
left wing, and then he became a right wing actor in Hollywood, and he helped with the anti-communist purges.
But as famous as Ronnie, or no? Not Ronnie, the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I would
Um,
say so. Yeah. He
Probably
had
more
roughly
famous.
he had like a 30-year long acting career by the time he ran for governor.
I knew that he had an acting career, but I didn't know he was that famous.
I mean, go look at his filmography. It's huge. He literally acted from 37 to 64.
Oh, my favorite thing that we learned last year, was Nancy Reagan was the throat goat.
Oh yeah, that is amazing.
Pretty good.
When you're so good at giving head, you turn someone into a reactionary. Like, apparently she's like responsible for like all of Reagan's right wing policies. Like him becoming a reactionary, it's fucking crazy.
I think we need to explain what the throat goat is. I
Uh,
guess my mom. I don't recommend explaining it to your family members.
when you're very good at giving head.
Yeah. No, she apparently was going around Hollywood from producer to producer, giving head.
Yeah, like she'd go to like sets or whatever, and like she'd be super popular, and that's why it was very shitty time to be a communist then.
Do you think that would work if somebody did that on a Marvel movie set?
They probably do.
Yeah, but who?
'Cause we all know about like the power dynamics and like the advantages that people get taken of in Hollywood, especially
Oh,
with
yeah.
like young girls and women.
Louis C.K.
Yeah, exactly. Harvey Weinstein.
Ugh.
That Harvey Weinstein thing flew over me. That it was when it was happening. I didn't even notice. I mean, only later did I hear about it.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah, he's out now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
And he wasn't even convicted.
Wait. What? No, I thought he was.
Was he? I think they.
Didn't they? What happened
They
was they dropped like his case got appealed and like it worked out for him.
Yeah, he was sentenced 3 to 10 years, and yeah, 3 to 10 years is a very, very lenient sentence. Oh, and he was granted an appeal. That's right.
He's an old man, but in US you still send old people to the jail.
Yeah, you know when
But
state's justice.
But they don't do it here. Like there was some ex-Nazi that they caught, and I think that guy didn't survive anything.
I mean, Charles Manson died in jail, so did Robert Durst.
Didn't Ted Kaczynski just die?
Oh, really?
Or he has a
What?
cancer or something. I think he has cancer, at least.
Oh, he's alive. He's alive.
Don't sound too excited.
No, I mean,
Ted.
I'm not excited. I would be sad if the greatest environmentalist of our time died.
Yeah, it looks like he has basal cell carcinoma. It's a type of skin cancer.
He was outside too much.
Oh, they only let you out for an hour a day.
No, I meant as in before he went to prison.
Yeah.
To be honest, spending your life in prison probably doesn't help a lot with cancer production rates.
Fuck. What was I gonna say? Oh, apparently Ted Kaczynski thought he was trans too.
What?
Yeah. So he went to see a psychologist in fucking like the 60s, I think. And he thought he might be trans, and then like the psychologist just like laughed at him. So that's pretty much how the story went. Then he became a terrorist.
I couldn't become trans, so I became the Unabomber.
Yes.
Then he was so mad at himself at even going there.
Yeah, he was extremely mad.
Well,
He
I
writes
mean, yeah. Welcome to the state of therapy in the U.S.
It's okay. Everything worked out. He created a new generation of activists.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
But how many of those activists are fascists?
The Unibombers? Unibomber fans?
Yeah.
A surprising number of people who cite the Unabomber as being a person they look up to do actually end up being like total, complete fascists, as opposed to being, relatively left wing.
Unibomber is not left wing. I mean, he describes himself as the third way, so
Right.
I told him for being fascist.
The thing is, there's an amount of sympathy you can ascribe to people who choose to turn to a kind of terrorism in the United States because it's not great here. Not that I'm saying that you should go be sympathetic to terrorists, but they are people and they do become terrorists for a reason.
Most of them are usually insane right-wing fascists.
A lot of them do tend to be, yes.
Fucking crazy. What was I gonna say? Have you ever read the Unabomber Manifesto?
I read it a long time ago. I haven't read it any time recently.
I haven't read it at all.
You need to read it.
Anarcho-primitivism is kind of fascist.
Yeah.
I mean, he actually isn't anarcho-primitivist. He's even against them. Like you have the anarcho-primitivist ideologue or whatever is Zerzen, and he actually supports like anti-math, anti everything, anti-civilization, anti-clocks, and so on.
Well, to be fair, the way that capitalism uses time as a cudgel against people is pretty depressing.
I mean, to anarcho-primitivists, the solution is not to abolish capitalism. There is no solution. In that regard, you need to abolish civilization. That's how they see it.
We need to abolish agriculture.
Oh, God.
That's the only way we can be free.
Like big agriculture or all agriculture?
All agriculture. We need to go back to hunting and gathering.
That sounds terrible.
It is very terrible, but you work less.
Can't I just, I don't know, make my own farm?
No, farming is reactionary.
Wait, is it? Hold on.
I was reading David Graeber's new book, The New History of Everything.
Nice.
And I fucking my computer died, so I didn't get to finish reading it. But pretty much, so before farming, most hunter-gatherer societies were egalitarian, and pretty much everyone just did whatever. And it was more or less like anarchy, I guess you would say, and communism. But then agriculture came in, and then you needed like more forced labor because like some people in the towns or like village, they would just tell like the people who were like tribal leaders or higher like nobles to fuck off, and they told them to work hard, so they would go get slaves.
Jesus.
Pretty much any food source that's and also we actually spend more time working. I mean, each time we advance as a civilization, we spend more time working. We spend more hours working because as a hunter gatherer, you only need to spend like a couple hours a day to like get food or whatever. But as a farmer, you need to spend more or less 8 hours or so just farming and shit.
Mm.
Or like 12-hour days or whatever. I fucking don't know shit about farming. Also, in like the Pacific Northwest, the people who got most of their calories from fishing. So they would fish in the spring and they'd have to process a shit ton of fish and like salting them and stuff so they're edible for like the rest of the year. So they needed labor. So they would go raid Northern California for slaves who they mostly subsisted on acorns. So like those Californian tribes really oppose slavery and like their existence is anti whatever the North Pacific tribes were.
Huh.
But they were like more of they believed in like private property and stuff though. And like working hard for like yourself and like the California tribes and like the Pacific Northwest, they had literal slaves. So yeah.
I feel like this is something I might have studied in anthropology a decade ago.
Probably.
But it's been a decade.
It's fucking crazy how different the American tribes were. Like each
Actually, David Graeber, like historians, don't like him.
That's not a surprise at all.
That's okay. I need to finish the new history of everything.
He does advocate for everybody working less.
Yeah, he's also an anarchist.
Politics, not his politics, like his historical stuff.
I mean, how off base is he? Like, which historians are we talking about here? What are they criticizing him for?
I need to look it up, but
I will go to town on calling them idiots.
I mean, that's kind of presumptuous of you, but okay.
I like David Graeber. What do you want?
Oh yeah, another
Man
part of
died
the
too
book.
soon.
So pretty much a lot of people so everyone knew about farming, and pretty much all of human history is hunter gatherers. But most people thought it was just more work than actual just going around picking food. And people routinely would go back and forth between farmers and non-farmers, having hierarchical society, not having hierarchical societies. Like in Britain, they used to farm, and they went back to eating acorns because just picking up acorns is easier. That sort of deal. Pretty much the whole premise of the book is human society needs to experiment more with like its structures and how to run things because we sort of just stopped. We just decided that capitalism and liberal democracy or whatever is the end all be all of our society.
I don't know if I like the word decided in that context because I
Dude,
didn't
I still
decide
like-
shit.
True, because we also still have fucking absolute monarchies in this world.
Yeah. The vast majority of people I know didn't decide fucking anything. They just kind of got put in whatever place they were.
Yeah, pretty much everyone was just born into whatever. And you were more or less forced into society, forced to conform, and you don't really have any say. We needed revolution. Oh yeah, we really got off the base of the whole transphobic thing. Oh yeah, so
I mean, it's the same as saying, "Oh, Engels was wrong on their historical stuff too," and they were wrong. They were actually quite racist about their historical stuff because
Okay.
what Engels and Marx read was what they were getting from the West. from the West, and the West in this context not as a concept, but as America.
Americas. That also reminds me. He talks about in the book. In Europe, they didn't really have a concept of freedom until they went to the New World and talked to the indigenous people. And like the missionaries and stuff would write stories in their discussions and debates with the indigenous, and then they would get printed out in Western Europe, and the whole concept of like freedom and liberty became a thing in Europe after coming in contact with the New World. Pretty much, they had no way to compare societies to anything else.
What year would that have been? Like 1500s, 1600s?
Yeah, about.
Gotcha.
So like they meet up with like the the Great Lake societies were more communist in the sense like everyone took care of there. There wasn't really like there wasn't a state or like any leadership, and everyone pretty much did whatever they wanted, more or less. And like they complained how Europe was so shitty with like poor people existing and no one taking care of each other,
Yeesh.
and like how hierarchical their societies were.
Let's just
And-
become like the Great Lakes people, but with computers.
Yes. Pretty much. So then other Europeans would read this, and like they'd read the debates because like the indigenous people were just as smart as like everyone else,
Right.
and like they would learn whatever language, and they would debate the missionaries, and like they'd even just debate about religion and stuff as well. I don't know if I'd be curious if those like debates and stuff are still around because they'd be interesting to read. But they'd be written obviously by the missionaries to more or less serve their purpose. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Like ideas of freedom and stuff wouldn't exist without being exposed to other cultures.
I know the theory that actually Enlightenment was inspired by Spanish missionaries or Portuguese missionaries rather that went to China, and there they read that in some Confucian texts you have mandate of heaven, and if the ruler loses mandate of heaven, then they lose their right to rule.
Oh, this talks about in the book. European society literally ended up copying how Chinese society was run. After they came in contact, like how the structure and like bureaucracy, they just copied the Chinese.
You mean our modern state and bureaucracy?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's a fact. And they copied like the British Industrial Revolution is basically most of it is copies from India, like techniques of doing metal and so on.
Yeah, so pretty much every advancement in human society is from people working together and talking and like interacting. So ethno-nationalism is wrong.
Yeah, but I don't like talking to other people.
It's okay, other people will do that. And they'll make nice stuff.
It's not okay for other people to talk to other people either. I don't like that either. No one should talk to anybody, and I should have all the money. I'm JK Rowling.
And then there should only be a space for women, and then only people who are born women, even if they look like men now.
I mean, I will say I'm clearly not a trans person, so there's only so much I can really say about JK Rowling's transphobia. But
Yeah,
like,
me too. It doesn't affect me that much.
it's really just it's such an absurd thing. I can't imagine dedicating so much of your damn life to it.
Because she's a feminist and she's fighting for women's rights.
Yeah, that's what, second wave feminism?
Something like that, yeah. I like the gender abolitionism, feminism wave. I don't know which one that is.
No, I mean she's not I mean she's not a feminist, even though she thinks she's one.
Of course
But
not.
I think we should point that out.
Feminism is about liberation. It's not about you know, I don't fucking know what she believes. I don't really give a shit either. Is there anything else we want to add to this discussion? Oh fuck, we forgot to tell people to join the Discord.
I mean, you can
Oh,
always
yeah.
add a thing at the beginning if you want.
That's too much effort. Anything else you need to add to this discussion or whatever?
Probably not on this topic.
Watch Sean's video.
This
Yeah,
is
that's
very true, yeah. Oh, you also
I'm
watched
not-
Contra's video about JK Rowling.
Does she have a JK Rowling video?
Yeah, she does, about JK Rowling's transphobia.
Gotcha.
Like, comment, subscribe, or whatever. Visit us on our Discord or something. We won't be racist to you if you are not white, but we will be racist towards you if you are white.
But I'm white.
They don't need. You're one of the good ones.
Oh, okay, good.
It's okay. Vera is a Slav, and he's not considered white in Britain.
Wait, really?
I mean, really? Yes.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Need to ask British people.
I guess. Jesus.
The British people, I know British people hate Polish people so much they voted against staying in the EU because they wanted the Poles to leave.
Dear God.
Pretty much, if you're west of Germany, you're not white in Britain. I mean, east of Germany, you're white. You're not white in Britain. They don't consider Slavs white.
But all those people are like turbo white.
Yeah, why do you think they're not letting them in? They don't think Ukrainians are white.
Oh my god.
Letting Ukrainians in.
Yeah, whiteness is a weird concept in Britain.
It's
So Vera is a POC in Britain.
everything I've
Slav.
learned today is just telling me that Britain is a horrible place that produces horrible people.
This is very true, yes.
They have the nerve to make fun of Americans.
They are literally insane. Oh, okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.
Whoops.